Hi everybody, Laura here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a fun project to share with you featuring the Let's Flamingle stamp set. And I'm going to start by inking up this large image or scene from the Let's Flamingle stamp set. I'm using some Gina K's black amalgam ink and I'm stamping that onto a panel of kraft cardstock. And so I'm going to color this entire scene using my Prismacolor colored pencils. And I've been wanting to try this for a long time, finally getting around. And I saw this scene from the Let's Flamingle stamp set, and I thought this would be a good opportunity because there's lots of colors, you know, the flamingo, the pineapple, lots of bright green leaves, some flowers. You could really have a lot of fun with this scene by coloring it in with various mediums and get lots of different looks, whether it be Copics or watercolors or Zig Clean color markers. I'm going to use the color pencils because I'm excited to try it. Something new for me. I've been really inspired by Yanis Makula. Have you seen her work, her magic with color pencils on dark cardstock? It's just magical. So that's what I'm going for here, a little Yanis Makula magic. And I didn't get too fancy. You can see my color pencils. I usually do about 3 shades for every image. First, I color the whole thing in with a light tone. Then I go in with a darker and kind of add some deeper, darker shadows. Build it out with the mid-tones. And then add that highlight back in with the lightest color. It's very similar to what you would do with Copic markers. That's what I'm finding. I'm not going to act like I really know what I'm talking about because I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'm just going with it, and you learn as you go. And so I have the box, my Prismacolors. I believe it's not the largest set you can get, but it's got three trays of color pencils. I think it's 72. And I thought, for goodness sake, 72 color pencils, it's got to be enough, right? But you know what? When you get going, you realize you need a couple more shades. I'm telling you, it is a sickness. Is that what it's called, the full set syndrome? You got to have all the things, especially when it comes to pinks. When I got going with the Flamingo, and I realized that my pack of color pencils only had about 4 shades of pink. And that's just a travesty. You got to have at least 12 shades of pink. And so anyway, I used what I had, going to town. And now, guess what I need now? I need one of those special pencil sharpeners. I had to pull out my old cheapy pencil sharpener that just doesn't even do it right. You need the one that just gets it on that perfect angle, nice and sharp, and all that jazz. So again, now I'm doing the pineapple. I sped this up, as you can see, and I kind of cut and chop it up because I color really slow, taking my time. But I can see that coloring is very therapeutic. I really did enjoy it. But I'm not going to candy coat it. This took me a long time to color, partly because I'm slow. But it's definitely not something you're going to want to mass produce. But I will say it's very therapeutic. And when I was done coloring the entire scene, I stamped it again with the same image. I hadn't moved the stamp off of my MISTI, so I got perfect placement, nice crisp black lines. Now I'm moving on to the sentiment. I'm going to emboss that large thanks sentiment from the Word Series Thanks stamp set. So I rubbed down the black cardstock with the magic powder bag, inking up the thanks with Versamark ink and pouring on some white embossing powder. Now there is a thanks sentiment in the Let's Flamingo stamp set, but I just happen to love this thanks. And also what I love about it is that there's a coordinating die. But here's how I line up my die perfectly. I die cut on a scrap piece of cardstock. I lay it over top, and that gets you perfect placement because that thanks die is not see-through. So you really need that in order to get the even border around the edges. And then as well, I'm going to go ahead and emboss another coordinating sentiment. It says, so it's going to say, thanks for flamingling with me. So I'm going to emboss that coordinating sentiment in white onto a strip of pinkish red cardstock. I went looking through my stash, finding something that would bring out the pinkish red in the flamingo. And then I'm going to color, it doesn't show up really well, but I just kind of went over that flower on the sentiment, popping up the flamingo scene, popping up the sentiment, as well as the sentiment strip. And that's just about all there is to it. I'm going to trim off that excess from the sentiment strip. I almost added some sequins, but instead I decided to add a little bit of enamel accents. So I'm adding just a drop of yellow enamel accents to the centers of each of the flowers. Just gives it a little something something. And this card is finished. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.